Hey everyone and welcome. Well, all you Brexiteers out there, all of you people that thought we had Brexit, here's the final nail in the coffin that puts us right back into doing as we're told by the EU. Now this is Rishi Sunak's deal, should we call it, that effectively puts us under the whim, and Northern Ireland specifically, under the whim of the EU, effectively annexing Northern Ireland forever. Now before this vote, we had the option to pull out at any time, even though they didn't, but we did have the option. This new one, we don't. And it's absolutely disgusting. They all backed the same thing, obviously, because, you know, there is no opposition anymore. We're on a uniparty, aren't we? And this proves it. The Stormont break was voted on today. The ayes, 515. Noes, 29. And 21 of them were Tory rebels. So everybody voted for it. Traitorous to a man and woman, in my honest opinion.
The core is rotten, and I can behold the tide.
Breaking up the union on the whim of the EU, even though we voted for Brexit, which meant leaving the EU in totality. At the moment, we've got Bruno. Have a listen to what Sammy Wilson from the DUP said. He nails it.
Let's be clear what we're debating here today. We're debating a lock or a break, which is necessary because the government has allowed the EU to impose its law on part of the United Kingdom. And the result of that is that we now have a border between one part of the United Kingdom and the other part of the United Kingdom. A border which is going to be reinforced very shortly by the building of physical posts which will be used to monitor trade between Great Britain and Northern Ireland, where goods which are going into Northern Ireland purely for the consumption in Northern Ireland will be checked, 100% customs checks and 120 physical checks. And that can be varied, of course, by the EU. And what's the answer, government's answer to it? Well, unionists can make a protest about it, they can sign a petition of concern. By the way, a petition of concern, which if there's anything will destabilise the Northern Ireland Assembly, it's the constant use of the petition of concern, and the members behind me will confirm that. So, first of all, there's a limit on what can be done. And secondly, despite what the Secretary of State has said, that he would be bound to, in fact, he would have no option to, other than listen to the petition of concern from unions. There's a whole section in this bill which tells us grounds on which he can refuse to do it. And even when he does, if he does accept it, he then has to go to the Joint Committee and he has to exercise a veto which he knows will lead to material impacts for the United Kingdom, and that we can be absolutely sure. If it's a choice between disrupting relations with the EU, ironically, this Windsor framework is presented on the basis that it's to normalise relations with the EU. If that's the case, how likely is it that we're going to pick a fight with them over the implementation of some EU law in Northern Ireland? The truth is, this is not a Stormont break, it's a Stormont fake. It should be rejected by this House. It doesn't protect the Union, it doesn't protect democracy in Northern Ireland, and it will not get the Assembly back and running again.
Now, my opinion on this, everyone, is very, very clear. We voted for Brexit. That means no deals, no happy families, none of that. We wanted out. And on top of that, the EU have proved themselves since that time to be vindictive, evil tyrants that want to punish the UK. And yet our leaders are quite happy to go with begging bowl to the EU and let them do whatever they want, even though the people of the country said no. Traitors to a man, are they not? The way the EU have treated us since Brexit, we shouldn't be in bed with them. We should be competing on every level and crushing them on every level as well. There you go, there's not much I can add to that, is there? We've sold Northern Ireland down the river and our own country as well for the globalist EU Europhiles. Absolutely shocking, and it just means now that everyone, the fight starts here again. If they want to do this, we're going to just keep on fighting until we get what we want, aren't we, everyone? Let me know what you think. Stay sane. I'll see you on the next one.